Welcome to Canada's podcast.
Hello, this is Robert Smile coming to you today with Canada's podcast, where we talk to the entrepreneurs who are making it happen here in British Columbia. Rob Hatch is currently living in Ladysmith, BC on a small hobby farm with his family. For Rob, living on the West Coast is the best of both worlds, with being a short distance from both the mountains and the ocean. The West Coast is what inspired Rob to start his company, Big Venture Sales, and continues to inspire his brands, Crave Stevia and Aromatic Creation. Rob has been working on his businesses for over 30 years and is constantly learning and adapting to the ever-changing world as his business continues to grow. Well, Rob, welcome to Canada's podcast. Thanks for taking the time today to be here for all our listeners.
No, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Okay, I want you to tell us a little bit more about yourself and give us the details on your current business. Are you originally from Vancouver, born and raised?
Yeah, I'm not from Ontario originally, but came out as a young kid back in the 1979, actually.
Okay.
Into Nanaimo. So I've been in Nanaimo pretty much my whole adult life, for sure.
I'm sure you've seen it grow exponentially over the years.
Absolutely, for sure. Absolutely. The whole island.
So tell us about your business.
Well, basically, so what we've done is we have a company called Big Venture Sales, which has brands in it, Crave Stevia and Aromatic Creation. Crave Stevia is a line of stevia for keto-friendly, diabetic-friendly products. So it's an all-natural sweetener, zero glycemic, zero carbs, zero calories. And then we've also have the Aromatic Creation line, which is a completely all-natural, clean body care line. So it's no preservatives, no harmful preservatives, no chemicals, and we try to keep everything natural, safe, and clean.
Okay, cool. Now you've been around for 30 years. So did you need financing to start your company way back then? How do you currently make money in the business now?
So I've been doing the stevia, the Big Venture Sales for about 15 years, and then before that, we had another company that we sold. So I took some of that money from the company we sold back in the day, and to start this company. And we really don't have we don't have any type of debt in our company. We're self-financed, and we've also managed our growth to make sure we've controlled our growth so we didn't grow too fast over the 15 years.
Okay. Now you got a few businesses here. So I want you to kind of focus on one on this next question. I want you to give me a key piece of knowledge or information about your industry that our listeners can learn from that they may not know about.
Well, basically, one of the key pieces with the Crave Stevia is being able to, we control our brands, we control our recipes, and we control everything from, we control it from the beginning to getting it out to the consumer. And that has been one of the things that I learned over the years is when you have full control of your brands, and then you have control of your products. Where when you buy products and resell like a distributor, if something happens, the relationship falters, or they decide they can go out and do something on their own, and after you've done all the work, they can pull it from you. Where when you own your own brands, you always have control. You make the final decisions on what's happening.
So you own from manufacturing to final sale?
That's right.
Okay. What is the long-term vision, and what will your company look like in the future? Do you see the company expanding into other areas, and where beyond Vancouver, BC, or even Canada?
Yes, so we are coast to coast in Canada now. We have just started to expand into the United States. So we're on Amazon.com. We have a few distributors down there that we work with. So we are in some stores and chains down there as well. And as well as we are now looking to expand into Japan, China, and into the Far East.
Where do you think your biggest growth areas are? Asia, Europe, US?
Yeah, I think that Asia will be probably in a few years. Right now, our main push first off is going to be the U.S. with the
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about doing business in British Columbia, specifically in
Sure.
Nanaimo, the island. What are the biggest benefits for you in being an entrepreneur in Vancouver on the island, BC? Give us some of the good points about starting a company here, and also give us some of the tough things or challenges for our listeners so they can keep an eye out for them.
Okay. So one of the great things is lifestyle. Obviously I love being on my boat, so I enjoy it. And there's nowhere else in the world I'd rather be. So that's a very big plus is having a business in a place where you want to be, opposed to being in a large city or back east somewhere. Downfalls are logistics is a problem, especially on Vancouver Island, because you have that body of water between the mainland and the island. Also, staffing. Staffing is a little bit tougher. On the larger centers, you have a little bit more people to choose from in the markets that they to specialize in, versus on the island that's a little bit softer for that.
Okay. So we want to take you back 30 years ago. If you were to start all over again and you just moved here to Vancouver or British Columbia, but this time you don't know anyone, knowing what you know now, what would you do? And how would you go about starting all over again as an entrepreneur?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Wow. I probably, if I was to do it all over again, I probably would move to a little bit larger center down in Victoria to start over, having more access to resources down there. Also, I would probably, there is a lot of government funding that's available now for young entrepreneurs that is available, which was not necessarily 30 years ago was even heard of. To get that to help fund some of your businesses and some of your business ideas, where today there's some really good opportunities for that. And I would probably, if I was starting over, I would be taking advantage of a lot of that for sure.
Yeah, because there's the grants because of just the current economic situation, and there's also the loans, right?
Yes.
So would you take advantage of both?
Oh, absolutely. But there's also there's more grants out there than just the current COVID grants. There's grants for equipment. There's grants for marketing. There's grants for building a website. There's grants for hiring people now, like just for like summer students. We were just talking about the other day, like there's a $11,000 grant just to hire summer students. You get $11,000 of the wages paid for the summer.
Nice.
Totally. It's amazing.
Okay. Let's talk a bit about your routine and what keeps you motivated. What does the first hour look like for you when you get up in the morning? Do you have a specific routine or a ritual that helps you get motivated to start your day?
No, back when I was when I was younger, absolutely, I would go in. My first thing is, in the daytime, I'd come into my office, I would shut the doors, I would sit down, I would go through whatever emails I needed to, go through some of the things I need to check off and make sure we're getting done. Now I've streamlined a little bit more. I've got a few more people involved. I got a great operations manager. So now I can start thinking about bigger picture first thing in the morning. I'll sit down and have a coffee at home. I don't even come into the office right away. And then I figure out what I'm going to need what I want to check off as far as product development, where we're going with things, talking to our sales manager, and I'll also have a conversation with our operations manager. And that will be that's the first hour.
Okay, so you have your key people in place
I do.
to keep your going. Okay, do you think entrepreneurs have to be weird or unique in a positive way, or are wired differently?
I think entrepreneurs are wired differently only because sometimes you spend hours upon hours working. You're working, especially in the beginning, you're working 24/7. Your mind never shuts off. And there's a lot of people they're not wired that way. They just don't want to be that way.
After 5 o'clock, they're done.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk. Entrepreneurs read a lot. What books are you reading now and why, or even audiobooks or podcasts? And can you recommend any books for our listeners who are also entrepreneurs?
So I do listen to a lot of podcasts, but the one that I enjoy it's called The Journal, and it's out of New York, and it's about basically it's money. So it's basically business, money, and power. And I listen to it faithfully every day. And it's a 20-minute podcast that, and if they pick a subject and they talk about it and they research it, and it's a phenomenal product, like a podcast for sure.
Okay. Any online or offline tools that you use on a daily basis?
I do, online tools is I do a lot of research, especially when I'm doing product development for raw materials. So I do, I'm researching different databases for raw material ingredients. Also looking for equipment. There's a resource that we use for machinery companies. So we understand what if we're going to launch a product, we have to understand what the machinery is going to look like to launch the product, how to make it. And then get it into motion and to the end finished good for marketing.
Okay. We've got a couple of rapid fire questions here for you. If you
Sure.
weren't doing what you do now, what would you like to do for a profession?
Oh, I enjoy what I'm doing. So I'm an entrepreneur. So
How about a sea captain on a big cruise ship?
oh, sure. I'd love to be. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to be on the water all the time. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Fair enough. That's a good statement. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
What kind of job would you not like to do? Couldn't do it.
Basically couldn't be a first responder. Couldn't be, someone in that type of a role. I'm just that would be a tough job.
Okay.
I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it can be pretty traumatic. Yeah, I have the stomach for it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. In business, what is your favorite word, quote, or sentence that you like to use? If someone in your company said he says this a lot, what would it be?
Let's get it done.
Okay. What is your least favorite word or sentence you do not like to hear?
I hear this every so often from one of my team members. Not going to happen. I can't stand that. I just can't.
It's like can't. Anything like can't, won't do it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one or two words to describe yourself, what would it be and why?
Driven.
Always
Motivated.
been like that? Always been like that?
Yeah.
For 30 years?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hasn't changed? Hasn't slowed? Still the same?
No, I'm still driven. Basically, I'm going to have to say is priorities maybe have changed slightly, only because in the beginning, when money was very tight, you were always driven, you're always working to make sure you had enough to cover everything. And then once you've got the money in the bank, it's a little, you can start to let your people handle it a little more, and you can start enjoying life and spending time on your boat and doing a few things, but you're still driven, you're still focused on your business.
Where do you go on your boat?
I spend a lot of time on the west coast of Vancouver Island. I enjoy fishing. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So,
Okay, anything keeping you up at night these days regarding work, business?
yeah, right now, probably is the situation with the economy. I'm very concerned about that. Very concerned with inflation and how it's starting to rapidly increase, and how that may affect our pricing of raw materials to our people's ability to service their debts, all the way along. It affects business. We're protected in the fact that, yes, we're a food product for the most part, or a health product, but it's still, there could be long-term effects for years to come that could be, we're just not even understanding yet.
Okay. Over the last 30 years, do you have any advice that you may have received that you can pass on to entrepreneurs throughout Canada? I've
received a lot of advice over the years. It's basically, probably the best advice I received was owning your own real estate for your business, and that was a great move. Absolutely,
Because in essence, the business rents from the owner,
that's right.
right?
And then when the building's paid off, it's just another asset, right? But that well-valued asset.
Awesome. Okay. Well, you seem to have your business under control, but as always, entrepreneurs are very, very busy people. And I think you can relate to this next question. We're going to take you away from all the work and we're going to put you on a boat, which is what you love to do. There's a small tropical island just off of Fiji that has only one phone booth there. There is no internet. This place does exist. We're going to drop you off there. You won't have a computer or smartphone or tablet. You can use a phone booth located there. Anytime to call the boat, we'll come pick you up. How long would you last before you made that call? And what would you do while you were there?
Wow. You know what? I could probably make it a couple weeks, but at the most, and then I would definitely be making that phone call because I don't think I've ever taken a holiday more than 2 weeks long. And what would I do if there was a fishing rod? I'd be
You
fishing.
can take anything. You can take anything you like.
I'd be
There's just no
fishing.
internet.
Yeah.
There's just no internet. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd be fishing. Yeah.
So if you had to choose between the internet and the fishing rod, you go with the fishing rod?
Yeah, but but I would probably say no. I probably end up. I probably have to have the internet at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
To keep an eye on
Okay.
things. But
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to wrap things up. How can our listeners get hold of you? And is there anything you'd like to add before you leave us today?
well, they can get a hold of me at basically at BV Sale bigventuresales.ca, and as well as they can get a hold of me through my email, which is rob@bvsales.ca. And of course, there's we have our number, our office number, which is 778-762-0888. And yeah. Well, what was the last thing?
Last part, any words of advice, anything before you can add to conversation before you leave us today? Anything you'd like to, that we've missed out that you'd like to add? Words of advice, inspiration, anything like that?
Yeah. The biggest thing is, entrepreneur is a tough job, and starting up a business is a very strenuous thing, but it can be well worth the while, especially long term. It does get easier as you build your business, as you build wealth. It gets a lot easier, and it becomes worth something down the road to sell as a retirement. Most business people don't. They invest in their business wholeheartedly and hope that things work out for them. But if you keep working at it, you will succeed. And and I do believe that hard work does pay off.
Eventually, you just got to keep at it. Stay focused. Keep to the task. Okay, Rob, thanks for coming on the show. I've learned a lot about you, and I'm sure our listeners have as well.
Great. Thanks for having me.